So I've been tweeting out all day. Ever since Friday, I've barely had some sleep. I'll be very honest and blunt. Ever since last night, I barely got some sleep again. I was on the phone, emails, text messages, you name it, digesting, quietly, in pain, quietly, shedding a tear. As crazy as that might sound, yes, shedding a tear because of the love I have for this country, because how invested I am in this program and how important it is to me personally to see Canada get to a World Cup. So I've taken a lot of time in making a lot of notes. I'm going to give you my message, my own personal message on what I see is wrong and what I see needs to be fixed. But before that, I'd like to first off thank each and every player on that Canada team. Thank you. God bless you. You didn't disrespect the jersey. You left it all out there. You gave all you had. That's all we can ask for. We can't blame you for missed chances last night. We can't blame you for the loss in El Salvador. Sure, the buck stops with the players. They play. But if we're all honest, if we're all honest and we look at what's out there with this Canadian team, they give you all. And I thank you for that. They gave us everything they had. The talent wasn't there. We're missing a lot. A lot. Again, thank you, boys. You represented us proudly. I don't have very much complaints this time around. The last World Cup qualifying, I had a lot of complaints. And to some of the whipping boys the last time around, where I took shots at like Toussaint Ricketts and Nick Ledgerwood, I tip my hat to you. Well done. You left it all out there. You proudly wore the jersey this time, along with so many others. The whipping boy, the youngster, Kyle Larman, sure. He would have liked to have some of the chances back, and maybe he didn't have the greatest of games. We all understand that. But he's barely 23. And here's a kid that's got a bright future in MLS and in Europe and for Canada. So go easy on the youngster. Don't destroy his confidence, because he's never played in San Pedro de Sula. He's never played in Central America up until this time. And so now he knows when he's got to go back next time. Next, head coach, Benito Floro. You should have resigned already. Why haven't you resigned? Shame on you. Absolutely shame on you for not resigning. Anywhere in the world, especially where you come from in Spain, this would have happened instantly after the final whistle that the coach would have resigned. You didn't. Why not? Please explain it to me. Your arrogance, your unbelievable substitutions, your player selections, your style, the way you lacked the communication skills to talk to your players, really had me shaking my head throughout this second phase of World Cup qualifying. Canada scored that goal in Honduras by James. Every player off that bench jumped in joy. You were sitting showing no emotion. You were sitting and not flinching at all. Your arrogance in not calling up Jonathan Osorio, who in my opinion and in many's deserved a shot to be on this team in this round of World Cup qualifying. You didn't call him up. Why? Why? I asked you on that press conference before the Honduras game. The answer wasn't good enough for me. But we know what the answer is out there. We truly know what the answer is. Will Johnson, another guy that played a ton of minutes. That's fine. I know the reasons behind that one, but still, I believe he could have added a lot off the bench. But I'm more upset at guys like Jonathan Osorio, who didn't get a chance. What about Fraser Aird, Russell T-Bird, Michael Petrasso? I could go on and on. Why didn't you insert some of the younger blood in there? Why didn't you give them an opportunity? Why didn't you change it up after that Gold Cup where you lacked a lot, where the depth we know is not there? Why didn't you give some of the youngsters an opportunity? Why? Explain it to me why. There's so much to discuss, but Benito Floro, I know for a fact, will not be back. And if he's back and I've been lied to, then shame on me and kick me up the side of the head, because I'm a fool in believing this individual. But he will not be back. He shouldn't be back. I believed at the time that Benito Floro was hired, I believed it was a good hire. I'll be honest, I'll put the cards on the table. I believed it was a good hire. And I believe he brought a little bit of stability to the program. A little, not a lot. He changed some things around. He got some things that needed to be done behind the scenes. But he was old school, stubborn, arrogant, only his way, which is fine to a certain point. But guess what? Now you live and die by the results, and you need to resign. Stephen Hart, God bless Stephen Hart, the former Canadian men's national team coach, who's in the hex, by the way, with Trinidad and Tobago. He resigned instantly after that humiliation. What are you waiting for, Benito? What? A message to Vancouver. Vancouver, thank you. Thank you so much for the unbelievable support. The unbelievable support throughout these World Cup qualifying games. Unbelievable support. But last night, Vancouver, I got to tell you, it was a strange atmosphere. It was a little bit weird knowing the stakes that were in play. I was listening. I was talking to a lot of people. The atmosphere, the mood, it just was a little bit weird for me. The Mexico games, the Honduras games, God bless you. Thank you, Vancouver. You did an amazing job. But now it's time for Canada to come back home to Toronto, to the National Stadium. And I also believe it's time to go back to Montreal to give Montreal an opportunity. Vancouver, you've had your turn. Thank you. But I'm tired of the artificial turf, the synthetic turf. I want real grass for real players to play on. End the story. But again, thank you. Now, a very special message to Atiba Hutchinson. What a player. I'm getting emotional now because watching him last night talk after that game, he was in tears and emotional. Here's a guy that never said no when the call was made to represent his country. Here's a guy that left it all out there, blood, sweat, and tears. Here's a guy that believed in this program. Here's a guy that talked to guys to convince them to come and play for Canada. Here's a guy that is a Hall of Famer. Here is a guy that will go down, in my opinion, as one of the greatest, if not the greatest Canadian player in the men's program in the last 50 years, maybe more. Here is a guy that should be part of the program once he's finished and retired. Maybe not as a coach, or if he does want to become a coach, great, but maybe not as a coach. Maybe as a guy that you can pick his brain. Because he's played in Honduras twice. He's played in Central America. He knows, he understands. Atiba, thank you, brother. God bless you. All the little Canadian boys out there that are playing with youth clubs and academies, this is a hero. This is a guy that you need to look up to. This is a guy you buy a jersey from. This is a guy that you say, I want to become like Atiba Hutchinson, playing, shining in Europe, in the Champions League coming up, and also for his nation. God bless you. Thank you, Atiba. Thank you so much. Now, my message. My message. It's my turn. What's done is done. Let's look forward now. We have to look forward. Once and for all, clubs, academies, provincial bodies, the national bodies, check all your egos at the door. Have a look in the mirror today. Have a look in the mirror today and say to yourself, what have I done? What have I done to help out? Get Canada's men's team to the World Cup. What have I done? Have I filled my bank account? Have I lauded all the trophies and medals our club or academy has won? What have I done? What have I done? Districts, do you belong still? No. Provincial bodies, you need to make sure that you're surrounded with good people, people on the board, people that care about the game, people that want to make a change for the better. All the other naysayers and the negative influences, get them out. Put the spotlight on them. Put the floodlight on them and get them out. Root them out. We don't need them. We don't need them at all. At all. To me, here's how I look at it. It's very simple. We have to distinguish, we have to separate the good clubs and academies that want to produce national team players. And we have to distinguish and separate those that do a great job at the lower ages and want to be part of a house league structure. No problem with that. We have to distinguish who the real players are. Who the ones that are going to be the ones developing and nurturing and making sure that they keep pumping out players for the national team, academies and youth clubs. Youth club presidents, look around your boardroom when you have your next meeting and ask each and every one of them, have you done enough? for this country, for this men's program? Or are you worried about the nickels and dimes and pennies? Have you provided the best facilities possible for your coaches to teach and to develop? Have you given them the tools? Academies. Stop, promoting or lauding that you sent 5, 6 players to NCAA schools. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't care. Some of you do a great job. Some of you are there to just make a quick buck. And shame on you. And there's no problem with that. Make a quick buck. I got no problem with that. But come out and say it. Look, if I can develop you to become a national team player or get you a full ride scholarship or get you to MLS, I'm going to try. But don't promise the sun, the stars, and the moon. Don't do it. Don't do it. The time is come today. Today, I implore, I beg everybody at the provincial, at the national level, former players that have played the game, involve them as well, some way, somehow. But to me, this is the message. It's simply clear. To provincial bodies, to the national body, the CSA, to clubs, to academies, to volunteers, everyone. We need a league, our own league, coast to coast, for our players to play, for our coaches to coach, for our general managers to general manage, for our presidents to be presidents in. We need our trainers to train with our clubs in our country, coast to coast with our teams. Enough. Enough of Americans coming up here, taking jobs from our players, from our administrators. Enough. God bless TFC, Vancouver Whitecaps, and Montreal Impact. They've given space to Canadian players, and I thank them for that. They've done their part. But why should we force them to play our Canadian kids? Why should we force them and embarrass them to say, why aren't you playing Canadian kids? That's not their job. They're owned by private businesses or private businessmen. And I don't blame them if they don't want to play Canadian kids if they're not good enough. Don Garber in MLS has done a wonderful job. He's taken care of the American player, the American coach. We have done a terrible job. We need our own league so players can aspire to play for a Calgary, a Montreal, a Toronto, a Vaughan, a Victoria, an Edmonton, a Saskatchewan. I could go on, so they could look up to it. I'm tired of hearing all this crap about grassroots this and grassroots that, and we need to do this and do that. We need our own pro league. It's simple. Our own pro league. Can we get jobs down there in the States? Our coaches? No. Can our players get jobs down there? Hardly. We need our own league today. If we don't get that through our thick head, then you know what? We might as well forget. Forget it all. Let's just consider ourselves a house league nation of having fun at the game, and that's it. But if we want to start playing with the big boys like the USAs, the Costa Rica, the Mexicos, smarten up. We all have to work together. Everyone's in their own little silos. Everyone's doing their own things. Everyone says, I got the answer. You don't know the answer, Anthony. I got the answer. I come from England. I know how to do things right. I come from Italy. I come from Portugal. Listen to us, Anthony. No, I don't want to listen to you. Because until you've worked, until you've been in the trenches here at the local clubs, the local academies to see what they're doing, if you're coming from another country, you know nothing about this country. You know nothing about the deep-rooted issues. I do. I've had 2 sons in the system. I know all the problems. I know all the promises, all the lies, all the money that's being wasted. I've worked in the first Canadian Soccer League that was based coast to coast, 3 years as an assistant general manager with players like Alex Bunbury, Lyndon Hooper, Paul Pescasolido, Carlo Corsi, and on. I know you guys out there that have come over here to my beautiful country are employed making good money with youth clubs, with academies, at the province, at the national level. Keep your mouth shut if you don't know the answers. But I'll finish with this once and for all. We all need to be on the same page, but we need our own professional league. Our own. We cannot rely on MLS, and we shouldn't. And it's not up to them to provide a place for our Canadian kids. It's our responsibility.